This is Brick Wall Cinema with your host, Chance the Riot. And on today's episode, we have Sergio with us talking the top 10 best movies of 2023 and the new trailers for Lisa Frankenstein, The First Omen, and Mean Girls. Alright, Sergio, do you want to talk about this week's trailers?
Alright, let's go for it.
Alright, so first off, we got Lisa Frankenstein. This is the second trailer starring Catherine Newton and Cole Sprouse, written by the writer of Jennifer's Body and directed by Zelda Williams. Do you know who Zelda Williams is, Sergio?
I'm not sure I do.
Zelda Williams is a daughter of Robin Williams. And
Right.
I think this is her directorial debut, too. This is a hell of a directorial debut. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a very a very unexpected kind of concept to roll with. Like there are different people have done the concept with Frankenstein before, and the concept that the original story had done in many different ways. But this feels unique, but also kind of obvious, like how a teenager coming into adulthood, or like the fantasy of something, having a relationship come into play during this kind of movie.
I agree with you when it comes to that. It looks, in my opinion, it reminds me a lot of Beetlejuice, like early Tim Burton-esque, with all the striking looking backgrounds and all the unique looking visuals, and also the houses too. It sort of reminds me like Edward Scissorhands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, even with the weirdo guy with the quote unquote popular girl, or not really popular girl, but like different girl, the Winona Ryder type. And I'm actually really excited for this too, because it looks unique. And I thought that would be coming. It says coming out February 9th, but this feel like it's made for Valentine's Day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I also get a sense of Halloween, or more of Halloween than actual Valentine's Day.
Because of the death part of it.
Mostly because they play a lot around with life and death, and also quirky, and also things that might seem unnatural, or things that are just out of the ordinary, and a lot of kind of gross stuff that happens. It just reminds me a lot of Halloween, especially when the mother finds this worm inside her soup. That reminds me a lot of Halloween themed food, where they have gummy worms, or use different things to replicate things that you would find in other places, like mummies, worms in dirt, that kind of stuff.
Gummy worms aren't Halloween themed.
No, they're not, but they can be used in Halloween dishes.
What kind of Halloween dishes do you think?
I actually know about this YouTube channel that actually did something like that, where they put a bunch of fudge and chocolate and put it into this bowl. They dipped and they stuck a gummy worms into it and made it look like it was worms in dirt.
The only Halloween treat, I guess, would be the whole gimmick where you cover your eyes and you go to a friend's house and their parents are hey, put your hand down into this bowl of eyeballs, and just grapes with the peeled off.
Well, I guess so, but I also thought about it. What about bacon wrapped in hot dogs, and you can make it kind of like a
That's
mummy.
Not Halloween.
You can make it look like a mummy.
You can make a bacon wrapped hot dog look like a mummy.
Look mummy themed.
Wouldn't anything wrap be mummy themed?
Yeah, that's the point.
Why hot dogs?
Because they're delicious. Why not?
But why?
Because they're good. You never had a bacon wrapped hot dog?
No. I had bacon wrapped pickles.
And you're questioning my thing?
Yeah, because no one says, I'm hungry, I want a bacon wrapped hot dog.
They're all over with street vendors, all over the streets.
So are bacon wrapped pickles. You go to the fair and get a bacon wrapped pickle.
Never heard of that.
How many times have you went to the fair?
Which fair?
LA County?
Yes.
Yes, you have, but have you ever tried a bacon wrapped hot dog?
I've never seen a bacon wrapped hot dog.
Have you ever asked to look for a bacon wrapped hot dog?
Where would that be?
At the fair.
I've looked at the fair. I've been there a few times,
but you never seeked out the bacon wrapped pickle, so you would never know where it is.
So, but that brings up the point, where would I find it if I don't know where it is?
You know where it is now. It's at the fair.
I know it's at the fair, but where at the fair?
The fair, it's there at the fair.
The fair is a huge place with a bunch of different stalls. How am I gonna find it?
A bunch of different places have bacon wrapped hot dogs.
I have never heard of it outside of this
and
fair.
Bacon wrapped pickles. I flipped my line. Go ahead.
You know what? Why don't we just let someone else out there leave a comment or something of where they actually know where the bacon wrapped pickles are, because I don't know where they are.
I know. We know where they are. They're at the fucking fair.
You know where they are. I don't.
God. Lisa Frankenstein coming February 9th. Shit. Fucking Let's go to the next one. Next up, we have The First Omen, which is a prequel to the movie The Omen, directed by Richard Donner. But this one is directed by Arkasha Stevenson, who previously worked on Legion, the TV show. Now, I haven't seen Legion. Have you seen this, Sergio?
No, I have not. Where is it, by the way?
It's on Hulu.
Oh, yeah, I never got around to it.
I've always wanted to watch it, though. It seemed like it was pretty good. So, in The First Omen, what do you think of the trailer for, Sergio?
To be honest, I can't tell whether this is a horror movie or like a documentary on like the dark side of of churches, like church systems that like the dark side of that. Because I have heard about that throughout history. There have been dark sides to certain churches and certain people in the church. But now I can't tell whether or not it's a horror movie or more like a critique on on exposing like a dark story about the church.
I am kind of tired of watching horror movies take place in churches or religious horror movies. We
I
already
think those
had
are,
like
I think those are like the easiest like kind of horror movies things to make horror movies out of because there's such like a good like history and good like mythology around the horrors of stuff people fear and the churches that they go against it. But I do get it. It feels like they're trying. It does feel like a lot of these horror movies are like oversaturating with like its association with like this kind of religion.
we had 4 last year.
I
As
know.
like top of my head, we had
Pope's Exorcist.
Pope's Exorcist, yeah. We also had The Nun 2 and
There was
The
the sequel to The Exorcist, wasn't it?
yes, The Exorcist Believer. And I think I'm missing one.
And there is another one, I think, but I can't remember what it was. But it does feel like they do a lot of these, but I think it's mostly just due to how well known the religion is that people understand it. Whereas with other things, people like wouldn't quite understand it. Like the Wendigo.
No, what's that?
There was a movie about it, basically about this guy and his 2 sons. One of his sons got infected with a Wendigo disease, where he turns into an actual Wendigo. It's basically a Wendigo is basically like a Native American culture folklore. It's a monster that goes around and tricks people into luring into a trap and then eating them alive. It's like a cannibal. Basically, it has like the antlers and it has antlers of a deer, like a face, a head, and antlers of a deer, and a long stretched out body, kind of like a Enderman, but more like bony and grotesque. It's basically meant to. It basically does like this whale of this really weird whale that is very eerie and terrifying. That tricks your mind into like kind of having this illusion where you cannot escape this certain area of the forest. Then it comes after you and consumes you basically. Because the Wendigo is supposed to be like this empty creature that's trying to fill itself with other creatures.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a very terrifying thing, but the movie itself didn't really work all that much because it was more about like a representation of like toxic relationships, especially in family. Because the boy who survived was being bullied and he was malnourished and he was very skinny and bony. You can tell like he was not healthy, and everyone who tried to get close to him and they either ended up dying or being attacked by the Wendigo, by his Wendigo transformed father and brother. It wasn't until I don't want to spoil too much, but over the course of the movie, like it's becomes kind of obvious that this is kind of like a representation of like very bad relationships that you have with family and friends and that kind of stuff, and also like domestic abuse. And the Wendigo part kind of like didn't really do much because there wasn't actually kind of information on the actual legends of Wendigos. It was more of just using like just some kind of monster type to try and do it. It just felt like a Wendigo was just like a neat kind of thing they could use.
Okay. Do you know where that's on or anywhere I can watch it?
To be honest, I am not sure because it didn't really do that well. But I would recommend looking it up. I'm not sure exactly on if it's on any streaming service because I have not heard of it being on any streaming service as of late.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to
look into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Maybe we'll do a review on that.
Yeah, let's do that. Coming soon. Next up, we have the final trailer for Mean Girls 2024. What do you think of this trailer, Sergio?
To be honest, it reminds me a lot of Barbie and Bottoms.
Barbie Bottoms. Okay, go ahead. Expand.
Well,
expand on your Barbie Bottoms.
To be honest, it gives me Barbie vibes because I remember it because it kind of does a lot of focus on these girls and how pretty they are, and a lot about like how women are in society, kind of like kind of thing. Because it reminds me, because like I remember in the first Mean Girls, it was talking about like how she was adapting to this new kind of social kind of concept of like how women are in this kind of society, and that reminded me a lot of Barbie because it did like kind of like a retrospective of how women are in society, and it reminds me of Bottoms because the humor of it is actually a lot similar to Bottoms, and also like a lot of the events that happen remind me of like because like there was the fight in Bottoms is very similar to the fight in school.
Gotta be way more specific. There's a lot of fighting in Bottoms.
Exactly.
I mean, just in general, all the fight scenes in a movie. I thought you meant like a specific scene.
No, there is no specific scene because like I said, the trailer basically covers a bunch of scenes, and every single one of them just reminds me of those two movies.
Okay.
Because the pink aesthetics and the pink like pink objects and clothes that are inside, and also of the really raunchy humor that's sprinkled here and there throughout the movie.
I'm excited for it because I like Tina Fey. I'm an avid 30 Rock fan. Have you seen that show, Sergio?
Yeah, I think I've seen it. I haven't seen all of it, but overall there are some good things, but I'm not sure if I was as much of a fan as you are.
Yeah, and also it's like on my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2023. So, of course, I'm excited for it. And this trailer just made me more excited because they tease more songs in it. Even though one of the biggest problems with this movie and The Color Purple that just came out like last year, it reminded me like the trailers for the movies aren't really pushing that it's a musical aspect of it because I think that the studios are afraid to showcase that it's a musical. They just want to re-release as a say, oh my god, it's a new reboot of Mean Girls or a reboot of remake. Sorry, I get this confused. Remake of The Color Purple without really pushing the main reason why they're remaking it. But this trailer, their final trailer, like coming out like a week or two before the new movie comes out, now they want to say that it's a musical instead of just saying a new twist from Tina Fey. Because all we've seen from the trailers, it looked just like the first movie, but with different actors. Or some of the same actors too, like the principal and the teacher played by Tina Fey are back. Only the ones that are back for this movie. And
I will admit, like when I first saw like the actors in the first trailer, I thought they were the same actors, and I was like, wait a second, they can't be the same actors. Like how old would they be? Because like I remember like when we first saw Mean Girls in the Fox Theater, and to be honest, yeah, I get what you're saying. But I do think that they also emphasize that the fact that this is a story that people are familiar with, which I feel like which people do a lot with all kinds of adaptations or remakes, that they always try to bring back like, hey, this is a story you remember from way back then that is being remade in modern times, probably because like better like camera works or better like more money put into it because they know it will work because it's an adaptation of a movie that actually did pretty well.
yeah, and originally they were supposed to release it on Paramount Plus. But I think they had a lot more faith in it when they realized that this is a remake and people already have an audience made for it. They might as well just put it in the theaters since I don't know why they would bring it back in the theaters since the only thing I would say that they would compare it to was Color Purple, but that came out when no. I remember when they released this trailer, they only released it when the Taylor Swift concert came out. They snuck the trailer in before the movie started and didn't release for any other movie until we saw Five Nights at Freddy's. So in that gap, it was like a whole thing. That's one of the main reasons I saw the Taylor Swift concert. Not many other reasons. Mainly just for the main girls. So you don't need to smile at me. They can't hear you smiling.
I was trying to. That's why I'm not trying to. You didn't have to point that out.
I didn't have to, but I want to. Are you done?
Keep going.
Fuck it, I like Taylor Swift. Anyway, but fucking... Back to Mean Girls. Fucking... Smiling, shit-eating grin over here. Fucking Mean Girls. I like that they also are pushing, like... That's actually mainly it, I think, for Mean Girls.
I'm not sure if they're actually pushing anything. It's just more of the same, just in modern times, I guess.
Modern...
Because because there's like a girl who sneaks tequila into her inhaler.
They had inhalers back then.
No, I know they did. I'm saying like it's more of like a raunchiness because like people are like used to this kind of humor nowadays.
I guess so. It's also still PG-13.
True. That's what I mean. Like they are more aware of what they can actually push because like there's tequila, there's drinking. I'm not sure what else there is, but
They joke in the first movie.
They drank, yes, but just not on like this. It's just the part where they do the inhaler thing. It's just something I never heard before. So it just seems interesting that they're trying to add more stuff.
Honestly, I don't know how the hell they could sneak. How could you sneak alcohol into an inhaler? I'm
That is actually one of the reasons why I hung up on it. When I'm hung up on it, is because like, how does that work? Like, do they have like a special container that they can like switch it out of, and they just? I guess it's some sort of flask or something like that.
I guess so. Movie magic, I guess.
True.
It also gave me a lot more faith knowing that also Tina Fey is still working behind the scenes on it. Like she wrote the script for it too.
Yeah, like she did for the original.
Yeah, and she said it was based off a book for the first one, but this one, I saw the poster for it on the credit section. It said "Book by Tina Fey."
Oh, I thought this was based off the musical play, the Broadway play.
Yeah, this is a movie based off the play, which is based off a movie, which is based off a book.
That's a lot of based.
Which is exactly how it is for Color Purple, which was a movie based off a play, which is based off of the movie, which is based off of the book. It took me a minute for me to comprehend all that.
It's kind of the same thing, but yeah, that is confusing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a lot of movies are gonna end up like that though, because there's just a lot of movies that can actually be adapted into different ways.
Yeah, but this one seemed like it. They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
I mean, if they have a Broadway play, they know what the hell they're doing.
I mean, yeah, they already made a movie. There's a book. There's a play. There's all kinds of stuff they take inspiration from.
Exactly.
Do you want to talk about the best movies you've seen?
Yeah, let's talk about the best movies.
That's actually a lot better.
You know what? You start first, Sergio.
Me start first.
Yeah, you start first.
All right. Well, let's start with the least best one. All right. Let's see.
At least somewhere there's 10. Please, somewhere there's 10.
Oh yeah, there's definitely 10.
Okay, good.
Now let's see. Which one was that one again? It is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
And that's your lowest.
My lowest mostly because of the fact like I got very situated. Oh no, wait, no. Sorry, my bad. That's Five Nights at Freddy's.
How did
That's number 10.
I'm not even gonna question that. Why Five Nights at Freddy's?
Five Nights at Freddy's, it felt like a very plain story, but I overall enjoyed it very much, mostly because I have pretty much watched all the videos about the lore and I've looked at the games. My cousins used to play it and they would tell me all about it. And I have watched all of Matt Pat's all of his like theories on it, and I also enjoyed his cameo in the movie. And I honestly thought like it was a very good homage to the people who have actually liked Five Nights at Freddy's. And it felt like an entry like taste to what it is to what the lore is to newcomers. I understand like you said you didn't really like it that much, and while I did say that it kind of hurt, but I understand like how it is very confusing to people people who don't understand it would not be able to enjoy it the same way.
Okay. And like I already said my views on it. So let's go to your next listing.
All right, my next one is that would probably be number two, or number 9, which is Nimona.
Okay, cool. I should have put that on my list. Why Nimona?
Nimona, well, I feel it. I first watched it. I did not hear anything about it. I just watched it and I was like, wow, this is such a refreshing movie. I did not know I needed this. I watched it and throughout the entire thing, I was entertained to no end. And I just fell in love with the movie and I just love the characters. I love the message and everything fitted so right in this movie. It just kind of mind blowing. It was, and the animation style was different because I had never seen this kind of animation style before. And the characters were something I had never seen in these kind of movies before. So it was just really refreshing.
I appreciated the animation. Like I see why the animation, because like why the animation looks a little iffy for me. Because if anyone doesn't know, this movie was originally supposed to be released by Blue Sky Studios, but then Disney acquired Fox, and they got cold feet once the movie was 75% done, so they canceled the project. But then Netflix picked it up and finished the sequences that were done and got another studio to animate the rest of the movie.
Oh yeah, and it was really good how they did it. I understand that it was already 75% done, so the story was probably already put through. And it was like an adaptation of the original novel, which is kind of different from the movie. But the movie just felt like it did all the humor, the character animations and the characters themselves just felt really great to just see on the screen. And I probably wouldn't have wanted to see this in theaters, but it was a very like kind of like movie that I just wanted to see during this time because like I was just bored scrolling through Netflix and I just see this movie and it was a refreshing kind of thing to see at the time.
That's how I felt too. Like I didn't read the graphic novel this is based off of, but I just saw the cover. I'm like, this looks interesting. So based it off that. Also, I like the cast. They have Chloe Grace Moretz, Hit Girl from Kick Ass. in it. She plays Nimona, and yeah, that's mainly it for me. And we'd like to go to the next one.
Yeah, we'll go to the next one. The next one I would say is The Pope's Exorcist.
You really like Pope's Exorcist? Really?
Well, yeah,
Explain.
I watched it twice. I would not like it this much if I saw it in theaters because like a lot of the stuff like I don't like watching horror movies in theaters because it gets me really scared easily as you saw me in Evil Dead Rise. Like I could not handle horror movies in theaters. But this movie, when I watched it, I'm actually religious and it felt like it renewed my fascination with my own religion, basically. Because as I saw it and I saw like this kind of priest, and this is not the kind of priest I'm used to. I'm used to seeing in like media. And he was goofy, but he was also very heartfelt, which kind of gave me like I really like this guy. It was kind of like that funny uncle who's like very handy, like the like that relative or that uncle that you have that's actually really goofy, but they're always able to like help you out in pretty much anything you ask.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, he was like that. It was like, wow, this guy is so cool. And then as I see it going through like the demon possessions, I was like, these are pretty cool effects. And it was really interesting to see like this is how a demon would mess with your head. And I see like how this priest would help fight back. And it was like, this is so cool. I love seeing this. And it was just really interesting for me to see. And I was so intrigued by the history and the things that priests go through an exorcism and the different kind of mechanisms that happen in an exorcism and what it takes to make one happen.
Hey, speaking of Exorcist, have you seen The Exorcist Believer?
The new one with the two girls, right?
Yeah.
No, I have not. Me and my mom wanted to see it, but we did not get the chance to see it in theaters.
You wanted to see it?
No, my mom wanted to see it. She
You
wanted me
said
to come because she likes seeing me scared.
me too. That's exactly why I wanted you to see Evil Dead Rise.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, it is.
No, you just wanted to see a movie, and my sister
Sergio,
wanted to come.
Sergio, you when there's a point in the movie where where someone bites an eyeball, spits it out, and puts it into someone else's mouth, and you are recoiling, almost about to throw up in the seat next to me. That was hilarious.
Yes, because that is a very disgusting thing. My reaction is funny. That scene is disgusting.
It was campy. It was stupid. It was funny.
You see that about almost every other thing, and the girl, even my sisters agreed that it was scary.
I seen some shit that'll make you white, Sergio.
What do you mean?
What I mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Elaborate.
There's nothing to elaborate on.
Oh, really? Then what do you mean by it making me white?
It's a Ghostbusters reference, Sergio.
Alrighty then.
So you're not gonna elaborate at all? Okay.
I did elaborate. It's a Ghostbusters joke, talking to the mayor, saying, I seen some shit that'll turn you white. Winston Zeddemore said that. I expanded. I
All
explained
right then.
myself. Yeah. All right.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
All right. Let's see. Number 7. That one would be. Let's see. Silent Night.
Silent Night.
Yes, I honestly really enjoyed that movie. I know that you didn't really like it that much, but for me, it felt like a kind of John Wick Christmas kind, but it felt like a really interesting, intriguing movie that fed my thoughts.
I'm sorry, I laughed at your thought of Silent Night. I didn't mean to. I mean, it's shocking hearing that coming from you because I thought you liked it, but think you liked it that much. Because we talked about it, and like you said, like I appreciate the effort that was put into it. That's why I like. But on the other hand, like when they hear a movie saying it's gonna be all silent and no one talking, you don't expect to be hearing the radio. And I thought they'll be going all the way with it.
No, they meant there's no dialogue between characters.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that loopholes. They use loopholes which aren't the right. They're not the right type of loopholes. Like having like someone hearing on the radio, that's not the same. I don't know. That's just my opinion, though. I thought it was a really good effort, but I feel like they should have gone more into the silent focus on the silent part. Because if they put the cards right, they could have done possibly sound Oscar nominated movie for best sound editing or best sound mixing. If they focus on the silent part of it by having it with great sound mixing with all the guns fighting, like no dialogue. Does it make any sense?
Yeah, I get it, but I still enjoyed it either way. The That didn't really hinder my experience because I understood it was gonna be like that. But even though I heard the radio, that did not hinder my experience and appreciation of it because it just felt like so gritty and down to earth. Because like this is not a hardened killer or a fighter or anything like that. He's just a man who is so broken from the death of his child that his relationship broke apart, and all he can think about is getting vengeance on this one guy who basically took his son from him, even though it was unintentional. But the thing is, like, it shows that gang violence has gotten so bad that this kind of thing is a common occurrence where gangs are all over the place and fights are happening all the time. And so he is just so fed up with it, and the fact that this is what took his son away, that he goes on a path of self-destruction, even though he knows fully well what might happen to him, because he just cannot think about anything else besides doing this one thing to avenge his son. All right. Now let's see. Number six, that would be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I understand that you love this movie, right?
Yeah.
For me personally, I also equally love it, but I do think there are some parts about it that I just didn't like as much. I think the first one I like better than this one, but this one is still really good. Like the score, the animation, the visuals are all mind-blowing. Although I do think, like I said before, the cameos of the Spider-Man throughout every incarnation, and even some of the background characters, I feel like they were just more cameos for the background rather than actual characters. There were some things that they did get right, and I do believe like it was a lot of work, and it was so great with how it portrayed all these with the main characters. But it felt like all the background characters were just put there for like fan service and not much else. Because it just felt like there wasn't much character development for anyone outside the main cast.
Well, they're the focus. They're the main cast.
Yes, but it felt like they threw in like characters like Spider-Man from the Spectacular series, the Peter Parker from that series. But if anyone who's seen that knows that he wouldn't normally agree with this kind of ideology. This is a very close ideology where like you would let some people he's basically saying you would let these people go through these events so that the multiverse would remain stable and every universe would be safe. But the whole part of why Peter Parker and some of these incarnations are Spider-Man, and including Miles Morales, which is his ideology, is that you try to do whatever you can to help people and not just let them suffer or die, or just because you won't help. That's the whole part of being Spider-Man, to help the people around you, not to just sit there and do nothing. Which I felt like kind of like it didn't really line up with what it meant to be Spider-Man. I understand why this is Miguel's kind of train of thought, but I didn't understand why it was other characters' train of thought, why they decided to go around him. Unlike Spider-Punk, where he actually was kind of like an undercover agent, sort of, where he just went along with it in order to get the tech in order to make his own version of the dimension jump.
I think I agree with you, but also I think that Spider-Man agreed with it because it's for the greater good. Because if they're thinking of not only one person, but they're thinking of the whole universe, their whole universe, and so what happened if they do change it. So I think that so that is more of what Spider-Man focuses on. What helps the bigger picture than just one person.
Spider-Man doesn't normally focus on what helps the bigger picture. Instead of saving one person, he tries to save as everyone he possibly can. That's his whole thing. Why he does what he does, because he wants to help as many people as he can. It's not about what's for the greater good. It's about what good can he do for others. He always sacrifices mostly his social life and his relationships to do that. He doesn't really sacrifice other people to do that.
Yeah.
Because like it's basically like if Spider like remember No Way Home, it was if like he allowed Doctor Strange to kill every one of those villains, and instead of saving all of them by giving them a certain thing to help them deal with their mutations and broken psyches, which that's not what Spider-Man does. He doesn't go out killing people just because it would make other people safer. He tries to save everyone he can, even in some of his villains. He does not go around killing his villains, even though they have done terrible things. He does not believe in killing people in order for other people to be safe, because that would just not help anybody, because the same amount of killers would be in the street. It's basically like the same ideology of like if you kill a killer, there are still the same amount of killers in the world. That's just basically his ideology.
Wait, but he did. But the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man killed.
Who?
Didn't he kill Green Goblin?
Andrew Garfield, he didn't have a Green Goblin.
Yeah, he did.
No, I don't remember that
In the
actually.
second movie, he's the one that killed Gwen.
What?
He's the one that killed Gwen and it made the Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield killed Gwen. Was that what you're saying?
No, Green Goblin.
Yes.
You just said he wasn't in the movie.
No, I remember now. He was in the last part of the movie. He didn't really show up until the last part. But what you're saying is that Green Goblin killed Gwen, right?
No, Spider-Man killed the Green Goblin.
I don't remember that.
Well, didn't he say that in No Way Home when he was saying like I got dark, I got nuts, something like that. Like
Yes, but that was
he
after the movies.
same thing.
He got dark and he stopped holding his punches back, and that's when he started to feel terrible with himself. That's why he kept warning about Tom Holland's Spider-Man to not lose his way because it doesn't make anything better.
Right.
All right, now that one was number six. So let's go to number five, which is Blue Beetle.
Yeah, Blue Beetle.
Honestly, I don't know why I enjoyed it so much. Maybe it was just because it was just a like how you said, like how you liked Wish, because it was just a simple story. But for me, I just felt like it felt harder hitting the home, maybe because like I identified with the character a lot more, the main character in this one a lot more than any other character I've seen on screen. And honestly, like it just felt so like it just felt like kind of like a really like heartfelt movie that I just liked watching. I'm not really sure if other people liked it as much. I don't remember the views for it, but I do remember like it was being kind of split. But me personally, I just really enjoyed watching this movie. I like seeing how Blue Beetle went about like seeing like discovering his powers. I love there was a family dynamic, like how the family was actually a part of his life and there he wasn't like overly tragic. It was more like he was just going through a really hard time. And while he does have some tragedy happen in the movie, it felt like a really good like family movie, even though like there was like a bunch of superhero stuff happening all around him. Like it felt like a real family, which I didn't really see much in a lot of movies, superhero movies, besides like Shazam.
Shazam's a special case.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because like very few movies have like that where they're like a bunch of superheroes together in a one movie and they have like this family dynamic.
Right. And also it sucks we're not gonna get a sequel to that now since the DCEU is finally over.
Oh yeah, that sucks. Well, even if we don't get a sequel to that, I hope they do like some movies like that to at least give us a feeling of how it is.
I have hopes for it.
Yeah. Or maybe it might come back. We don't know. Anything can happen. Because honestly, the whole DCU or just DC in general is just trying to get a footing in anything.
Right, right.
All right,
What's
so that's
next?
number five. Let's go to number four, which is John Wick Chapter 4.
Fuck, that came out this year. God damn it.
Oh yeah, I had to go back and make sure that it actually was released this year. It was the best action movie I've seen in a long, long time. It was so cool and it felt like they did really get serious and it was really interesting to see the fight choreography and seeing this interesting new setting where John Wick was, like how deep his connections go, and it was just so awesome to see that. And I did feel like the ending was a proper way to send off the character as he has passed away, as he finally regained his freedom, and he was buried next to his wife, which is what he wanted. And I did hear like they were gonna make a sequel to this, right?
Yes, they are.
Which I kind of felt like is a cop out because like it just feels like such a nice ending for the character. But I am kind of interested to see what else they do with it.
I have hopes for it. Have you seen the Continental?
No, I have not been able to. Isn't it on Apple?
It's on Peacock. I'll let you have the password after the show.
No, I could probably just look at it for free. There would be ads, but it doesn't matter.
You're going to jail. No, I'm not gonna let that happen.
I'm making it happen.
I swore, God, Sergio.
It's
I'm not.
happen.
I'm not gonna pay for your bail money, Sergio.
You don't have to.
I'm not going to.
All right, my next one, number three, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah, boy.
I just picture like a group just in his baby form just dancing through the universe as like what those means. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Volume Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was such a tearjerker for me. Oh my gosh. I was crying through so many of the scenes. And it was just like it brought back hope in me for like the Marvel universe. And cinematic universe because like it just felt like such a relief to see like a character-driven story without like any like thing that just felt flat. Everything just felt coincided so perfectly in this one movie, and it felt great to just see these characters go through their trauma and have this have these two bonding moments throughout this entire thing. And the ending was made me so happy. And they had the soundtrack was for this was great. The songs they picked out for certain moments was awesome. The action was amazing too.
Yeah, I turned when I heard the song at first, like the soundtrack, because when I first heard it, I'm like, this feels like a mistake. When the second movie came out, when they gave him a Zune, I thought, oh, this is gonna be a mistake. So they can have songs from all different genres. It's just gonna be an excuse to have any song you want in it now. And when I watched Guardians 3 for the first time, I thought, yeah, they're good. But then I sat down and listened to the rest of them on vinyl, and I'm like, holy shit, I get it now. I
I
get
know.
it.
As soon as I heard these songs, I actually went on Spotify and put them onto my favorites list as soon as I heard them.
Hey, you don't hear a fun fact?
Sure.
We're on Spotify.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just in case people are listening on others platforms like Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Radio Public, or YouTube. Just so you know, you can also follow us on Spotify. Sick ass ag drop. Anyway, continue.
Beautiful segues. All right. Now let's go to the final two, which is number two is Extraction 2.
I didn't see that one. Tell me about that one.
Have you seen the first Extraction?
No.
All right. Well, overall, in Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor in the in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he plays this new rugged kind of special ops guy who's kind of like this guy who just like it's basically like John Wick, but he hasn't retired basically. And in the first movie, he tries to rescue a boy from being kidnapped by by an imposing like political kind of party in this very corrupt country. And at the end of that, I'm not sure if you were worried about spoilers, but at the end of the movie, it's kept very vague on whether or not he has made it through his mission. And this movie, he's brought back, and he is shown in this very weakened state where he basically think of like it's the reverse of what happened in the Captain America, where instead of getting all buff, he got all scrawny and weak. And throughout the first the beginning of the movie rounds about him recovering from this and coming to terms with with his past, which is actually very sad. Where his Are you worried too much about spoilers?
No, go ahead.
His son was actually revealed to be diagnosed with cancer, and he was so scared to see his son in that way that he neglected coming over to see him and just went on missions to get his mind off of it. And then his son dies.
Holy
And
crap.
yes, that is very sad. And he's put on this mission to save a mafia boss's family from prison, because the mafia boss's brother, who's the husband of the family that's in prison, brought them in there because he wants to control them basically. Like the mother keeps trying to keep his temper down, but he always like lashes out against her. And then when he goes in to try and get them out, he ends up having to kill the father, and the boy is at this and the eldest son is at this conflicting crossroads where he wants to honor his father because that's what he's been raised to do, and trying to go along with his mother. So they get caught up in this action, in this adventure to try and get them out. And there's this incredible action, basically like John Wick Chapter 4 level of action, and choreography is awesome. And it's just fun to see to see him like in this ride. Like the best scene of the movie is basically like this ride that's happening in the prison, and he's trying to get the wife and the daughter and the boy all out of the courtyard safely by taking on these dozens of angry prisoners and armed guards. And it is incredible. Like when I first saw this, I was like, what? No way, they're making a second one. And at the end they even like tease that there's gonna be a third one, and I am so hyped for it.
All right. I'm gonna add it to my list. Now let's talk about your final one, your number one. What is it?
I'm pretty sure you're gonna hate this though.
Oh my god. Should I bring up the soundboard?
I think if you want to.
Okay, go.
All right, my first one is Godzilla minus one. Actually, that's kind of like the same sound effect he does in this kind of movie. This movie was felt like a recreation of the very first Godzilla film, and it was honestly it did it so much justice as it was a complete tearjerker, and like you basically see it through the eyes of the humans, but it doesn't feel like they take away from the story. Instead, their perspective actually gives depth into like how terrifying Godzilla actually is. Like in the MonsterVerse in the movies, he's seen like as this unstoppable force of nature, where in this one, he's actually seen as this walking disaster. And it is honestly incredible.
I mean, I want to watch this, so I'm gonna try watching it whenever I'm available. Before the new year, I'm gonna watch this for sure.
I recommend doing it as soon as possible because it is amazing. I'll even go with with you because honestly, it is that good.
Really?
Yes. I
Oh,
saw
thanks,
it in
man.
like I saw it in subbed and it was incredible just seeing it. And it is for me, it scared me, my
You
sisters,
get scared of everything.
no, dude, you do not understand. This was a terrifying experience, but I loved every single moment of it.
It's Godzilla. How scared could it be? It's a big monster fucking up people.
Because you actually feel like everyone in the movie is in moral danger.
No shit, it's Godzilla.
Yes.
It's the example people say when something's going out of hand. This is Godzilla level threat.
Yes. And it's actually really creative how like because like unlike in the first movie in the first ever Godzilla movie they kill him by using a oxygen destroyer, which is like how they did it in like the first like Godzilla King of the Monsters. But in this one they actually use something they actually use something different, a different technique, and it is honestly pretty cool seeing it work, and it is a really good representation of like how Japan recovered from like bombings of Hiroshima and Hiroshima. I'm not sure if I'm seeing those right.
You're saying it
But the
right, I
two
think.
bombings they did that happened during after at the end of the World War II, and it was honestly really heartfelt seeing like the characters try and recover, and then seeing them all taken away from by Godzilla, and then seeing them fight back as this one united as the people, because like the government couldn't do anything about it because they are still recovering. It was just such a like a fist pump moment. Like you just put your fist in the air saying like, yes. It was such a great like victory moment that you just want to like fist pump your in the air for like oh it was awesome.
Oh, I'm gonna check it out. You're going with me. Okay, so for my list, we're running out of time, so I'm gonna have to keep this brisk. So, you ready for
Let's
this?
get it going.
All right. For number 10, Dream Scenario. Nicolas Cage did a great job in it. Felt like an Ari Aster movie, but even though he produced it, I feel like he directed it and had a big hand in it. It's a great movie. I think you should watch it. Number 9, American Fiction. Great movie, great acting. Possibly get nominated for Best Picture and Best Act for Jeffrey Wright. And number 8, Barbie. I liked everything about Barbie. It's pretty self-explanatory. Theater Camp. It was hilarious and reminded me of when I used to go to theater camp when I was younger. Number 6, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. I stand by my statement by saying every Mission Impossible movie gets better with each installment. And I'm getting scared because this is the next one is gonna be the last one. I don't want anyone to die, and they're teasing that Benji might die in the next one, which I am so scared of. It's like Avengers Infinity War level of fear where I'm worried anyone could die in it. Number 5, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. This was one of the funniest experiences in the theater I've had all year. It was such a faithful adaptation to the source material, even though it's a source material where you create the people and things that happen in it, which is
It's
a
very
very
like
fine border.
it's very like it's very loose on what it is that is actually true to like Dungeons and Dragons because like anything can happen in there. You can include almost anything. It's a very like basically like create your own adventures, create your own world. But yeah, it is a very good interpretation of what can happen in D&D games.
Yes, exactly. And for number 4, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, because I love Ninja Turtles. I always have and always will. And I love Seth Rogen movies. I like his writing, and it felt like the best of both worlds when it came to this movie, including animation and the voice casting.
Oh yeah, and the animation style was very unique for this one, as it felt like very as like I've noticed in several other like reviews, they've noticed like the animation style and the art style seemed very sketch, like something you would do in a notebook.
Yes, exactly. And number 3, I got Bottoms. which I'm
I
shocked you
knew
didn't have in your list.
I knew you were gonna say that.
You
I was trying to decide where it would be in my list because there were some parts I liked about it, some parts I didn't. But overall, it was a very funny and entertaining movie. I'm not sure if it's for everybody because like I have heard of like other people like being like very hesitant to see these kinds of movies, especially if like the main characters are like in like or like part of the LGBTQ community. I have heard about that. Like some people like slandering it because like they don't like it. But overall, it is a very entertaining and very funny comedic movie.
Yeah, they need to give it a break, cut some slack, watch it, and judge it yourself. Come in with
I
an open
wouldn't, I
mind.
wouldn't, I wouldn't say it's a movie that you would actually see in the theaters. It's more of a movie you would just see like probably like on streaming service.
And it's on Prime now, so there's no excuse for anyone. It should win all the awards. And number 2 and number 1, pretty easy ones. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 for number 2, for all the same reasons you put it on yours.
Uh-huh.
I cried my ass off a bunch of times in the movie. I also found it one of the funniest Marvel movies too. And number 1, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Need I say more?
Not really. I know why
Okay.
you like that, and it is honestly one of the best movies that came out this year. But I do feel like I just seen it's just that for me it was just a few things that kept me from liking it all the way. But overall, I enjoyed it like one of the best movies of the year.
Yeah, man, it's been a hell of a year, man. 2023. Holy shit, we did a lot. A lot happened this year.
I'm surprised by how many movies came out this year. I did not expect that many.
Honestly, I thought there'd be more.
Well, let's see what happens next year. I'm wondering if there'll be more or less.
Yeah, now next year we got a bunch of movies coming out. Next episode we'll talk about. Actually, you know, I'm not gonna tease you about what's gonna happen next. I'm just gonna say, 2024, here we come.
Yeah, boy!
Yeah, 2024.
The hell was that for?
What, you don't like it?
That just seemed like the weird thing to end on, but okay.
All right. This has been Brick Wall Cinema with Chance the Riot and Sergio. If you'd like to see us more on... Shit, hold on. Let me do this. Anyway, shut up. Shut up. That was good so far. I need
Yes,
to
that was good, but why not just plug in the our like sites, our platforms again?
What?
The platforms that we're on.
Yes, I'm doing. Yes, I'm trying to... I need to pull them up. That's why.
Oh, you forgot them already.
No, jackass. I'm just trying to make sure I get it right.
Yeah, you forgot.
Yeah, you forget. All right. This has been Brick Wall Cinema with Chance the Riot and Sergio Huezo. If you want to hear his podcast on other platforms, we're available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Castbox, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Twitch, and if you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can find Sergio wherever you see him on the streets, because he is nowhere. He is a ghost on the internet. And that'll be it for today's episode. Have a lovely day and have a happy new year. All right. What do you think?
Pretty good. Although it was weird to see that they hear that last sound alert.
Well, I might get rid of that.
No, it's not that it's weird that you can't use it. It's just because like I've heard it so many times, but it's only been used when someone's working on a charm. Like basically like yeah, when they're trying to risk someone up. Yeah, like that.
That's the title of this one's called Riz sound effect.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's why it just sounded weird to put at the end when you said anything.
Oh my god.
Jesus, that is loud. Anyway,
Alright,
it's late and
hold
I'm gonna eat before I go to bed.
Yeah, me too. Later, man.
Bye.
Thanks for this. Bye.
Bye. That.
That's the title of this one's called Riz sound effect.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's why it just sounded weird to put at the end when you said anything.
Oh my god.
Jesus, that is loud. Anyway,
right.
it's late, and
Cool.
I'm gonna eat before I go to bed.
Yeah, me too. Later, man.
Bye.
Thanks for this. Bye.
Bye.